Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for checking out this video. So I wanted to do another quick video on the rust removal stuff. I just picked up this Craftsman, this vintage Craftsman socket set. Been looking for one of these for a while. I have one of the boxes and I actually have this ratchet, but this is an old Circle H Craftsman ratchet. It does have, it's not a complete set, but it has a lot more of the pieces than I have, but I think these are all should all be Circle H. But anyway, so I'm actually pretty excited to get my hands on this. As you can see, it's super rusty. So I wanted to just kind of go through the process real quick again on how I do these. So one of the things that's come up a lot of lately, you guys can see this is definitely has some rust on it on the inside. One of the things that's come up recently, guys, is, you know, will evaporust, will it affect the paint on items? And so let's talk about that for a minute. So I'm actually definitely going to drop this in evaporust. Here's what I will tell you guys. Do not leave it for very long. Funny mistake that I made, and it's perfect for this video. So a buddy of mine brought me several toolboxes, one of 3 or 4 really small, you know, toolbox / old tackle boxes. I did receive one. It had very little rust. The paint was almost perfect, guys. Had very little rust. I just wanted to drop it in there to get it off. Well, the problem is I forgot about it, left it overnight, and when I came back, this is what happened to the box. So you guys, like, this paint was perfect. So rust is gone, you know, mission accomplished there. But you can see where it just completely took out all the, I mean, it just annihilated the paint. And so anyway, this is what happens when you leave it in there for a long amount of time. So I'm definitely not going to do that. What I would suggest is probably leave it in for maybe about an hour or 2 and check on it. This one, I'm probably just going to leave it in there a very short amount of time, maybe an hour or shorter. It's about 74 degrees in my garage, so that's about perfect. I talked about in the last video, you know, the temperature is going to make a difference. The warmer, the better. So if you happen to have a heater on the evaporust bucket, I probably wouldn't even leave it in that long. It should knock it out pretty quick. These, it doesn't matter, obviously. It's not going to do anything. It'll get the rust out. But this, I'm probably just going to leave it in for a very short amount of time, or just monitor it if you're using a small enough container where you can see it. And the minute that rust turns black, just pull it out. And I'm going to show you guys how I treat it once it comes out. Definitely what you don't do is take a brush to it or get, you know, really aggressive with a towel to dry it. You kind of just blotch it dry. I get it in front of a fan. You know, let it all dry out. If you need to do it again, do it again. But, you know, definitely we're not going to leave this in very long. So I'm going to go ahead, grab the evaporust. We'll drop these in and come back in about an hour and see where we're at. Okay, guys, so this has been in here right about an hour. I can see already that this is starting to look way much better. You can see just from the glare that that rust is now turning. You can see just the bare metal. Let's see if I can pull this out slowly. Yeah, so you can see this is really starting to come out real nice. Usually those spots where the rust was will turn black. In this case, it's kind of cleaning it up. So let's see the bottom here. Still see there's some rust there. But you can also see, like right here in this bottom right corner where the paint is coming up. So what happens, guys, is if there's rust under the paint, obviously the paint's going to come off because it's changing the rust. And so that's something to be conscious of when you're doing this. Especially when you're dropping like a full toolbox or something like that, because if there's rust underneath all of the paint in the entire toolbox, but it just doesn't look like it, say it's been sitting somewhere, you know, untouched in a shop or a garage for a long amount of time, you're going to soak it. And then all of a sudden, when you pull it out, that paint's just going to start flaking off. So you want to be careful with that. I'm probably going to leave it in here, I don't know, maybe another 30 minutes. Probably just really let it dry. What I'm really trying to do here, guys, and what you guys are going to want to do is you're literally just waiting for that rust to either be gone or turn black. And the minute it does, you just want to get it out. So you kind of want to just be on standby for that. And I'm getting close here, I think. I don't know. I just don't want to leave it in there too long. See, if I were to run my finger across that right there, all that paint would come up. So what I'll do is once it's done, or I'm ready to get it out, then I'll just go ahead and pull it out, rinse it very carefully with some warm water to get all the evaporust off, and then literally blot it. I mean, very carefully, really soft, dry. Try to get it in front of a fan or something to avoid flash rust, and then just really let it dry. And then usually it'll turn out pretty well. But you can see we're getting there. But that paint will start getting a little soft. So no, it doesn't hurt paint. You just don't get too carried away. Scrubbing anything like that. I think the other tools, they're probably going to have to be in here a little longer, I'm assuming, because some of the rust areas were really bad. And you'll notice too, I mean, if you guys start to mess with it, when you pull stuff out, I mean, it'll really speed it up. So anyway, also I'm using some evaporust that's not exactly fresh. So, that could be another reason why it's taking a little longer, but I'm going to probably give it again, guys. I'm going to give it about another 30 minutes or so, 45, come back and check it. We'll see if it's ready to get out, and then I'll show you guys how I finish that part up. Okay, guys, so it's been about 30 minutes. It looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just rinse it with warm water, pull it out, see where we're at, and then determine whether or not we're going to let it dry, maybe put it back in a little while later, or where to go from there. So I'm going to pull this out, get it rinsed, and I'll come back and show you guys where we're at this point. Okay, guys, so I have pulled it out. I rinsed it off very lightly with some warm water. As you can see, there's still a little bit of rust, guys, but I mean, the hinges are good, so we're okay there. There might be a little bit here. So now, once you get it to here, and guys, when you pull it out and you rinse it off really good, I usually get a paper towel or a towel, and you just literally daub it like this. You don't scrape, don't wipe. As you can see, like just by rubbing it right here, I can feel where some of that paint, you can see where some of it's flaking off right here. So normally what I'll do from here, you guys have a couple different options. I'll usually take a very, 600, 800 grit sanding pad and just lightly kind of scuff it up a little bit. And then I'll spray it with some Rust-Oleum Satin Clear. Or you guys can wax it just like you would a car, compound it out in wax. It'll bring out that paint really good. But at the end of the day, you just want to seal it because obviously it will continue to do this. So I can tell you that by sanding it a little bit, it will come out really nice. And so here I have, I mean, this is like almost, I mean, it feels almost like it's not very abrasive. And just lightly scuff it up a little bit. I mean, just lightly, just enough to, probably won't get any on that logo, but just to get it to where it'll hold the clear. And to be honest with you, it's going to remove a lot of the leftover rust in the process. Okay. And then obviously just wipe it down really well, slowly. That way you don't, remove any paint. I put this in front of a fan to really, really dry it out. And then I do get a lot of questions, guys, about how I paint or how I spray paint anything for that matter, whether it be full-on toolboxes or clear or whatever. You guys, it's the same. It doesn't matter. I'll do, in this case, I'll do 3 really light coats, all about 10 minutes apart. So just a quick, kind of get it on there, very light. That first spray is your tack coat. So you will obviously just get it a little sticky. Wait about 10 minutes, same thing again. Wait about 10 minutes, same thing again. And maybe the last coat you can put on about a medium. I do that so that it dries correctly. You won't have any issues with it. But as good as it looks right now, that paint is going to really pop once we spray it with the clear. So again, some people like to use gloss. I like the satin. That way it doesn't look like it's completely wet all the time with gloss. Or if you like the dull look like this, you could always spray flat or a matte enamel as well. But so I'm going to spray that. These are still soaking. It's been several hours now, but you can see where that rust starts turning black. And the sockets were really, really bad. So you can see now they're starting to get pretty good. So I may just end up, guys, leaving these here overnight just to make sure that the whole inside, and then of course, I'll brush them out really good with a wire brush, see where they're at. Again, some people like to leave that patina so you can just use a wire brush. I personally like the shiny look, so I'll run them on my bench grinder under a wire wheel and they'll come out super shiny. So once we get the box done, spray it down, and then of course, clean the tools up. You've got a pretty sweet looking set of 40s, 50s, socket set from Craftsman. So I'm gonna go spray the box and I'll come back when I'm done with that. And then we'll get these tools out probably, if not a few hours in the morning, and wire wheel them down, and we'll wrap this up. Okay guys, so I have finished spraying this toolbox with the clear satin. As you guys can see, there's just a really good sheen. It really kind of locks all this in, so that way, no more paint's gonna come off. I do try, or at least I like to leave at least a little patina. So as you can see here, you'll still see a little rust, but what's good is the Rust-Oleum, of course, will stop that. So you can see the inside. So yeah, this came out really great, guys. Again, 3 light coats. Your first one is super light, just kind of missed it. That's your tack coat. And then you'll get your second and third, and it just comes out really, really well. The tools finally finished. I went ahead and left them overnight. Once they turn black, guys, so you'll pull the tools out, it'll turn the rust black. And once it does that, I'll take a wire brush to it. Under warm water, you have to rinse off the evaporust. And you can see, I always run it under my bench grinder. So I have a wire wheel on my bench grinder. You guys have seen it in my past videos. And this is where the shine comes from, guys. I'm not using any products. I'm not buffing it out. I'm literally just running it real quickly under a bench grinder. And they come out really, really well. And so what was really good about these is I was worried because of a lot of the rust that there may be some pitting, but we lucked out and there's no pitting. So these came out really, really great. The ratchet as well came out really, really great. What I ended up doing, guys, there was still a little rust here. You can kind of even see maybe where it was. There was still a little rust there. And instead of just continuing to leave it in the evaporust just for one little spot, the minute I wire wheeled it, it came off. And then I just oiled this really, really well. So that way, it'll, you just get it really oiled up. That way it'll keep that rust out, and this thing was ready to rock and roll. These are a little more difficult, obviously, to do, but you can see these came out really, really great too. And so very simple, guys. Evaporust. Once it's done, rinse really, really well with warm water. As you guys have seen in some of my past videos, I just use one of these. Grab one real quick. You can buy these at Harbor Freight or anywhere pretty cheap, Amazon. Steel wire brush, I just really get them really good to get gunk off. If you guys have, once you pull it out of the evaporust, if there's gunk and grease and things like that, you can drop it in some degreaser. And I also use bottle brushes, baby bottle brushes, or pipe brushes. And you can get these with the brass. That way you can get inside. Obviously, I haven't done the inside of these. I was more concerned with getting the rust out. So you can use those to really shine them up if you want. But these came out really, really great, guys. This really leaves for a cool set. especially if you can find them cheap at an estate sale or online in an auction, something like that. They clean up really, really nice with very little effort. Again, you can buy these super cheap. Harbor Freight, I think, sells this one, a brass and a regular nylon brush for maybe $3 or something, or you can buy these, I think, for 79 cents. So, and then I picked up some of these even on Amazon. You can buy a set of these for about $5 or $6. So that's it, guys. Everything came out really, really well. Now you guys know how you can even do the bigger toolboxes. You know, get them derusted, lightly sand with 6-800 grit sanding sponge or sandpaper, very lightly rough, you know, just to scuff it up. Wipe it down, spray it with some clear satin, and you have a pretty sweet little set. So if this helped you out at all or anything like that, please like the video. Comment below if you have any questions, if you would have wanted to see something that I didn't go over. Please subscribe, guys. It helps me continue to do this. And please, I love getting feedback. So anything you guys have for me, you can hit me up on Instagram at any time. You can email me at rehabfurniturelab@gmail.com. Check out my website, and good luck to you guys. Thank you.